All right, so the first question, after this unordinary year and season, what does the opportunity to compete at the championship mean to you and your team?
Well, it's golden. I mean, after it not getting to compete last year, and I just felt like we had the team to win it all last year. Um, it was such a special group. We've got most of that group back, so to be able to have them show up there is something that I'm going to cherish. But you look forward to the freshmen getting to see a venue for the first time every year at championships, and this year, I mean, half our team, the sophomores, haven't been there either. So it is going to be different. So very, very anxious to get there and play.
Do you feel prepared going into competition in Waco, and what has your team done to prepare for competition?
Coach Manili and Coach Brass will do an incredible job with our practices and their schedules and planning. Um, they've been ready. I mean, they've proven that in the arena. But what I'm so proud of is the way that they stay together as a unit off the field. I mean, these athletes in all sports all across the country have had it to endure a lot more than people would think. It's been a much tougher schedule than planned, and this group is so close and they're so special. They still take care, staying out of harm's way, still doing all the distancing that they need to do, and I'm so proud of the way they're doing that. So I don't think that they need to change anything they're doing. They're still almost going up a little bit, and we proved that at the SEC championships. I mean, they're riding lights out, they're playing lights out, they're very together, and they've got one goal. So we're really just learning new patterns and getting that set in, and we're very close to having that completely done.
All right, you kind of answered this, but I'll ask it anyway. What is your team looking forward to during this championship?
Um, I think a continuation. I mean, I still feel like we've got to prove stuff. I mean, it's something that I think you've asked me and others ask me all the time. Why we, seem to still ride like we have a chip on our shoulder, and I feel like we do. I mean, I still feel like we've got to prove ourselves twice as hard as anybody else, and so they're geared for that. They're ready to come out and play, and so I think they want to prove that they're every bit as good as the wins and their record has shown them to be.
All right, so what are some of these challenges? You kind of touched on that, with the distancing and stuff, but kind of really focus on some of these challenges that this team, not necessarily this team in particular, but student athletes have had to endure to get to this moment.
Well, I mean, students that are they're athletes, they lost a lot of their social life this year. They didn't get to behave near like some of the other students, and I'm not saying good or bad. And maybe some were doing in places they might not should have been, but athletes had to give all that up. And as of late, we did stuff as a group. What was going to be best, and to kind of get in this bubble, I said, that's going to exclude a lot of friends. That's going to exclude family. And our parents have bought into this completely. They said we 100% want them to win. So at SEC championships, they see their daughters right there, and they're not coming over to the hotels. They're not seeing them. They're not hugging them and hanging out with them. And so, the families really bought into this whole thing. So we all have, all the horses pulled in the same direction from the home front and from the team front.
That's good. What have been your team's strengths throughout the season, and how can those help Auburn be successful next week for the championship?
I'd say the strengths is something that we talk about a lot, and usually this means sort of outside of the competition arenas, is you are your sister's keeper, and I will forever talk about that. But I feel like they know that they have each other's back, and there could be a mistake with a rider, a mistake with a horse, or something like that, and everybody rallies around it. Everybody rallies even more to ride even harder to cover that point. So I think that taking care of each other is probably a strength. We're very balanced. All four events are very strong, but the balance that they have from having a drive to compete for each other is enormous.
How does preparation for the national championship differ from the regular season for this team?
It hasn't for us. I mean, we've talked about from the very get-go. We've talked about winning rings. We've talked about winning championships, and so we've got a coaching staff that all of us have been there multiple times. We've got players that have been there multiple times, and so they know that they can follow this group and they can execute, and they've been doing it all year. So I don't know that it's anything different for us because we've been doing it enough. I think it's always really kind of going back to the beginning, making sure all the fundamentals are sound, and then they do the patterns, the fences and the reining patterns to whatever it is to excellence. But they do it for the right reasons. They do it for their team, and they do it for Auburn. Something really special about this is they can compete on their own the rest of their life in this sport. Then they've been doing it as an individual sport. You've got a 4-year window to do it for this team, and they came here to ride for Auburn. They came here to ride for this team, and it shows.
All right, last question. What are you expecting to see from your team as you begin competition on Thursday?
All right, what's that?
What do you expect to see from them when we begin competition on Thursday?
Hope we're going to look to not play cautious, that we're going to be the same kind of riders that we've been at all of our meets. I would like them to come out with the same attitude they had at the SEC Championships. The SEC Championships are brutally hard, and they're something we look forward to every year. And if they take the same attitude to win that they've always had, then we're going to be good.
Good. Cool. That's it.
Easy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does that work good for you?
That